McKnight. We're going to flip-flop those.
There we
go. And I am live at Stivers Ford in Montgomery. Barry is in Milwaukee. It is game day for the Troy Trojans in the NCAA tournament.
Yep, 6:10 tonight. Troy will open up tournament play here in Milwaukee at the Fiserv Forum against the Kentucky Wildcats. It's already been a pretty doggone crazy NCAA tournament, and it feels like I say this every year, John. I don't even know why I try to fill out a bracket. Every year I come on this show and I say this. I don't know if my bracket has ever been just totally busted earlier than it's been this year. It's another one. They just kill me. Creighton, Louisville, okay.
Yeah.
McNeese, really? Is Clemson back to Clemsoning again?
Barry, how in the world do you only score 13 points in the first half?
I can understand it if Clemson scores 13 in the first half against the Celtics or the United States Olympic team or something like that. But 13 points and a half against McNeese State, just to illustrate McNeese, and it's a fine program, champions of the Southland Conference.
Yeah.
John couldn't tell you what their mascot is.
I couldn't even tell you where they're located. What do you mean?
They're in Lake Charles, Louisiana. The McNeese Cowboys.
Okay.
And Clemson's
that
gone.
Sense.
Believe me. It says 69-62, the final score. It wasn't even really that close.
No.
Oh, man.
Barry, the game day in my mind, there were some good ones. I got to tell you, I was kind of watching it yesterday. You better watch out for Drake. They've got a guard that can play. He can shoot. He's all over the place. He rebounds, plays defense. He can shoot. I was really impressed with Drake beating Missouri.
Yeah. Drake. The Drake, anybody? Rappers? No.
Don't know where they're from either.
No. They're from Des Moines, Iowa. I've actually called a game at Drake before. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
They the Drake Bulldogs win over Missouri. Not the greatest of days yesterday for the SEC. Thanks, Missouri, for not showing up. Thanks very much for Georgia for not showing up. Already Texas is out.
Danny Cannell was already on that this morning as I drove in today. He was already dogging the SEC.
Yeah. He hates the SEC anywhere. Auburn was not in a really good place early in the game yesterday in Lexington against a game Alabama State club. Tony Madlock has got those Hornets playing hard. Great year for Alabama State. Auburn pulled away in the second half. Honestly, all respect, as they should have. And Auburn wins it 83-63. Our buddy Bama Greg, of course, you can tell by his nickname, is really focused on Auburn. He says, all I heard yesterday was Auburn, Louisville, home field advantage, not fair. He said, I tried to tell you about Creighton. Auburn got a bit of a break there. Louisville, they got beat fairly handily, double digits by Creighton yesterday at Rupp Arena. So now it's Auburn, Creighton coming up tomorrow. I did too.
Greg, I fell into it. I bought the hype. Louisville going to play Auburn, kind of a home court for the Cardinal there, 70 miles away. Creighton's a good team too. I mean, this happens every year, Barry. I know that unfairly, I will say, that sometimes the way I talk about other programs ruffles some feathers, kind of comes across with who's this guy think he is. I mean,
he doesn't mean anything by it. The purity of his heart doesn't show through in some of the people's reaction,
But there's games like that we saw yesterday, and I believe we will today. Creighton, Drake, who I mentioned, St. John's, watch out for them. You never hear about them until the tournament time. The little lady's not real happy when she came home yesterday. I said, honey, your dogs got beat. She said, no way. She said, my bracket is busted. I had Georgia going to the Final Four. I said, well, your bracket's really busted then because the Gonzaga Bulldogs took care of you earlier today. So it's always teams like that you kind of go, whoa, why didn't I think a little harder about some of these teams that we don't talk about during the year? Because when the tournament rolls around, watch out for the Drakes of the world.
So watch out for the Drakes of the world today. Who's it going to be today? I don't think it's going to be Robert Morris. I don't think you got to worry about them against Alabama. It's the second game of the day. Our guy Bart Heisch is our man in the field for Baylor, Mississippi State in Raleigh at 11:15 this morning. Alabama and Robert Morris play at 11:40 on True TV from Cleveland, Ohio. Don't think the Tide has anything in jeopardy, anything to worry about here. But there's going to be another.
So let me just stop you right there. So I should not expect some dings around, I don't know, 11:40 tip. You said, say like around 10 after 12.
Uh-oh.
You don't think I'm going to get some of those today?
I might, depending on. I'm sorry, you might. So there is that, but some really good games in, and again, Troy at 6:10 tonight. Yes, the reports are true. We are going to get a game day preview of the matchup between Troy and Kentucky. Troy head coach Scott Cross is going to join us live about 8:30. Doesn't happen very often for anybody in the tournament, but Coach Cross is going to join us at 8:30 to talk about the matchup for Troy. Also, Troy is in the same.
About that. I was thinking about that, Barry. I mean, there's not. Yeah. I can't think of many times we've had a coach on the day of a game, particularly an NCAA tournament game. So that's very exciting. Looking forward to that.
Much appreciation to him for doing that for us. But Troy, if and when Troy wins, they would play on Sunday against the winner of Illinois and Xavier. So that's how it goes. But also in the Troy, I don't know, the bracket, the pod or whatever, you've got Ole Miss, you've got North Carolina, you've got Lipscomb, you've got Iowa State, North Carolina and Ole Miss. Actually, the first game today in Milwaukee is Lipscomb, Iowa State. That's at 12:30. Then North Carolina, Ole Miss at 3:05 here in Milwaukee. Troy and Kentucky, again, is going to be at 6:10. And the late game will be Xavier, Illinois. Yesterday was the big practice day. They're open practices for the fans to come in. So I got to watch a little bit of the Ole Miss practice, a little bit of the North Carolina practice, Lipscomb practiced, and some of those. So that was really cool yesterday. Those Kentucky fans now,
they show out.
They were all over the place. North Carolina, it was interesting. North Carolina was practicing, and you know what it's like, John. Ain't nobody going to show everybody what they're going to do. It's a practice, but they're not going to say, okay, here's where we're working on our surprise 1-3-1 defense. So Fred from Chapel Hill can take a look at it. But North Carolina brought their pep band to practice. It's really, it was really kind of fun and all that. But Kentucky fans now, there was this one lady out there, this Kentucky fan, she was out there, John, and she had her March Madness teeth. She was down to her Final Four.
I like that. That's pretty good.
How about that?
That's pretty good.
All right.
I like that one.
Well, there's excitement here. There's a ton of excitement around Milwaukee. There's a ton of excitement around the nation. There's a ton of excitement at Stivers, Ford, Lincoln, and Montgomery. I can promise you that.
Well, Barry, it might be cold outside. It might be colder here in Montgomery than it is in Milwaukee. I mean, frost on the ground. It's around the freezing mark here this morning. It'll warm up throughout the day. But even though it's cold outside, the deals are hot here at Markdown Madness at Stivers, Ford, and Montgomery. That's where I'm located. Listen to this, Barry. F-150s, every new 2024 F-150 at 2.9% APR for 72 months. Every one of them. The F-150 Lightning up to $15,000 off plus 0% for 75 months. The Edge, the SE model up to 40% off as low as $23,995. Ford Escapes starting at $21,990. No payments for 90 days. The Bronco Sport as low as $25,990. The Explorer all-wheel drive with leather as low as $39,990. That's up to $8,000 off. Expeditions, $15,000 off. And Mustang starting as low as $29,990. And Barry, I'm talking about a lot full of vehicles. That's just a handful that I've mentioned. The new Maverick lineup from Ford is here as well. You can check that out at extremely low prices. But you know, Barry, you're here as much as I am. I mean, they are overflow. I mean, I'm looking at some Mach 3 Mustangs outside the window that are parked up on the grass.
Yeah.
I mean, and they don't have enough space on the lot. They've got so many vehicles out here.
So you know what you do? You sell them at absolute super value markdown madness prices. Move them out, move them in. Nobody stocks more, nobody sells more than Stivers Ford Lincoln on the Eastern Boulevard, right at the Troy Highway in Montgomery, where John is located. Again, Alabama and Robert Morris this morning at 10:40, a 2 seed versus I'm sorry, 11:40. My
11,
bad.
Okay,
Should
wow.
wear my glasses. 11:40. Robert Morris is a 15 seed. Alabama is a 2 seed. Really nothing to worry about for Alabama. I thought it was compelling what Bart Heisch was telling us yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think we had it clipped, or we should have. It was interesting. Other than Cooper Flagg at Duke, Grant Nelson is the most important player for his team in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how they handled him, whether he's running around, whether he's looking good, and how many minutes he's going to play. Because if he has to play, say, 20 minutes in that game to ensure a late victory or something, that's not good. I would nurse him along if I was Nate Oates and only use him to establish the lead, you know?
You know, we've said this about Alabama football looking into 2025. If they have games like they had against Vanderbilt, Oklahoma in 2025, they got a major problem. And if they can't beat Robert Morris without that
Grant Nelson, yeah.
If Grant Nelson's got to be the difference maker against Robert Morris, they got some big problems. So in my mind, I'm looking at it going into it thinking, I want to hear Grant Nelson's name all day. Don't need to. If they can't beat this team without him, they got problems.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This would be a worse ending to the season than losing to Michigan in the bowl game. I'm telling you, it ain't going to happen, but it is going to be interesting.
Is it kind of like losing to Yale in the first round? I don't know why I picked up Yale. I don't know why they came into my mind.
Because they beat Auburn in the first round last year.
That's right. Yeah, my bad.
What was it? 6-6 Purdue beating Auburn in Nashville at some point.
Was that Nashville? Yeah, I lose track, but yeah.
I don't. To be honest,
I should have trademarked that actually.
6-6
Purdue team, yeah.
Because for 2 years, John never called them Purdue after that. They were 6-6 Purdue. What'd you think of Auburn yesterday? It was not. I mean, in the second half, they kind of turned it on. Janai Broome was not, super compelling or anything. Alabama State, a game club. The difference was Miles Kelly hitting 7 3-pointers, I think.
Yeah, I don't think you can turn it on and off. I just think you kind of play to the level of your competition. And, look, these kids know it, These young men know it. They know, Alabama State's kind of a Cinderella story. They're a 32-point favorite against them. You're always playing hard, but mentally, in the back of your mind that this team's a 30-point underdog, and maybe you're just not busting it like you would if you were playing Duke or Alabama or Florida. Right. So, I mean, it's kind of the way I thought it would play out.
I get that. And Bruce was right in the postgame when he said they're going to have to play a lot better to beat Creighton. That game is tomorrow night. Kirk is already all over it. Tomorrow night, 6:10 on TBS. There's a couple of things that I love about the tournament. I love, the fact that there's games the whole day. I was with the team practicing over at Al McGuire Center and, going to the big open practice at Fiserv Forum, eating with them and everything. And everybody is looking at the games. Everybody's looking at their phones and checking out. Oh man, guys, on the bus right on the way back. Daggum Clemson, I knew I shouldn't have picked Clemson, stuff like that. Yeah. But also and being able to watch the games, they do a phenomenal job. Everything is so completely organized. It is unbelievable. But John, as a broadcaster, you and I, we've commented on this. Why in the world do they bother the coaches with those in-game interviews midway through a period of play? You know, is there ever anything other than them saying, hey, we're talking to the coach. Look, here's the coach, and he's talking to us. That's right, he's talking, and we've got him on. Do you ever expect to see somebody say, well, yeah, Allie, here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch defenses right here. Watch what happens. We're going to go from the man-to-man to a 1-3-1 matchup zone. Watch, it's going to kill. You know, what do you expect
I'm with you, Barry, because mainly the coaches don't really look like they're very interested in it anyway. They really don't want to be doing it. You can tell it. But you've been in TV production meetings enough. You know what these suits think, and these guys behind the scene, the guys that are trying to make the numbers and the ratings be as high as they are, they're going, hey, listen, if we're going to pay all this money to broadcast this tournament, here's some things we want. You know, A, B, C, D, E. Oh, and E right here, we want to be able to talk to the coaches during the game. So at the 8-minute timeout, you just let all these coaches know Allie LaForce or whomever is going to be stepping up with that mic and asking some little question that you don't want to answer, but that's what the viewers want to see. They want to see their coach. Is he going to get mad? Is he happy? Is he going to tell us anything?
Is he funny? You know, is he going to make us laugh? What, you know?
When I'm watching mainly Auburn and Alabama games, I don't think maybe others, but I make a point. I want to hear what the coach has got to say as he walks off the field and going into halftime. What's he going to say? Now, Saban was always good because sometimes he'd snap at these people, which is what I was looking for.
Which is what John wants, yeah.
And I think that's what America's looking for. Ooh, is Saban going to snap at this person? To blow his top? But I get what you're saying. They don't ever tell you anything. They don't give you any info.
This is the John Longshore rationale for watching NASCAR. This is John's rationale for watching Auburn, Alabama women's hoops. This is John's rationale for ever even trying to watch hockey. He ain't watching hockey to watch how well they pass the ball between the center and the right wing. And he wants somebody to take a swipe at somebody.
I want the gloves off.
That's exactly right. Same
thing.
Man,
that's why I like Ryder Cup golf. Because there's a little gamesmanship going on in the Ryder Cup.
And John respects that.
Fist pumping, a little pointing, a little high-fiving, crowds going crazy.
Little Chi-Chi trying to put your putter in like it's a sword into your scabbard, you know. Well, we've begun. We're underway. John is live at Stivers Ford Lincoln on the Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway in Montgomery. That is a Aviator, correct?
That is a Lincoln Nautilus, Barry. They moved this in overnight because I was here yesterday. This was moved in a beautiful pearl white Lincoln Nautilus. We're at the Lincoln side of the Stivers showroom today. Lincoln luxury for less. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, you'd look great in this vehicle along with all the other great deals here at Stivers Ford Lincoln. We just happen to be on the Lincoln side today, so we're really excited about being over here and Lincoln luxury for less. They've got it here for you at Stivers in Montgomery.
Yep. I am in a hotel room in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, ahead of the opening day of the Midwest Regional First Round of the Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Get some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Okay, we're back here live at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, Barry in Milwaukee. Get ready for Troy in Kentucky later tonight in the NCAA tournament. Theotis says on our River Region Straw chat line, yes, viewers want to see Allie LaForce. Barry, didn't we interview Allie LaForce at Media Days years ago?
Yes, we did. She was.
So.
This was one of those when the during the Hoover years, which I hope are done. And she's very poised. She's very good. She's very professional. I want to make sure she's extremely good at her job. But boy, she is not difficult to look at. I will tell you that. And that I believe that is what. Not only that is what Theotis is referring to, but I believe that's the reason why he also said, yes, viewers want to see Allie LaForce, and he put it in all caps.
Yeah.
Yes, she is a
very
seasoned
nice
professional. She has our respect.
She looks good. She was about 2-3 feet away from us when we were interviewing her. Yes, she's very, very pretty, but she's very professional. She knows her stuff as well. How about our man Jason? How did I miss this? When they interviewed Summerall in the Tulane Charlotte game, and Tulane had the ball on the one about to score.
Jason says, Tulane versus Charlotte this season. Dude interviews Summerall as Tulane has the ball on the one. Coach, what do you want to see here? Summerall says, a touchdown. This is a nice song playing too. Yeah.
See, I mean, at least ask a good question. Gee whiz, I mean, that's amazing.
Well, I'd like to see us, I don't know, lose 3 on a sweep or something.
I was a sideline,
I'd like to see my running back go the wrong way whenever we give it to Fullwood. I mean, our running back, and
if I was a sideline reporter and said the team had a big lead, and I was asking the coach a question, I'd say, "Well, Coach, what are your post-game plans tonight? What are you thinking about doing when this one's over?"
Yeah, Waffle House. All right, Gus, great. Thank you. Back to you. Yeah.
All right, Barry, I'm looking at my bracket, and I've got it all filled out. My pen was kind of running out of ink, but I think I got it all done.
All right.
Of the second round matchups that we know are going to take place so far. Now, somebody did text me before we move on. If Alabama wins today against Robert Morris, do we know what time they will play on Sunday?
The time, I do. They would play. Well, no, we do not.
Do not. Okay.
It would be against the winner of Vanderbilt versus St. Mary. I do know that, but all of that stuff is TBA.
Okay.
So I'm looking at the bracket right now.
And Barry, that's
Bama Vandy? Oh, man. What about the Gurn household in that one?
Yeah, really. That'd be a tough one.
Yeah.
But St. Mary's Barry is a team like I talked about earlier. Drake, St. John's, Creighton, Gonzaga. I mean, that's one of those type teams. St. Mary's, you better watch out for if Bama can get past the Robert Morris. What are they again?
Colonials.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of those out there. You mentioned a lot of them. Good schools, small schools, good basketball programs. Nobody seems to spend a whole lot of time talking about it. And now we've gotten down on the into that rabbit hole, talking about great in-game interviews. John likes it when Saban would issue a little profanity, like in the halftime in the Georgia Southern game when Chris Stewart was doing the sidelines, and he says, they're going through us like bleep through a tin horn. And I'm thinking, what in the heck does that even mean? A tin horn? Yeah. And does anybody do that in a tin horn and all that kind of stuff? They bring up Coach Bryant talking with that reporter in Legion Field and says, why are you starting Ken Coley in the second half or something like that?
Yeah.
He says, we're trying to win the game. She says, no other reason beside that. No, we're trying to win the game. Best one ever. I guarantee you. Best sideline drop ever. The immortal Katie, what's her name? The lady who hosts NFL Tonight or whatever on ESPN. I'm drawing a blank on her name.
Katie.
Wow.
Katie,
not Katie Couric, but very cute lady. When she interviewed Namath.
Yeah. Susie Colbert.
Susie Colbert, not Katie. Susie Colbert interviewing Namath, and he's asking him about the quarterback for the Jets, and he says, I couldn't care less about the Jets. I want to kiss you. Struggling.
Yeah.
Later on, he apologized because he had a little bit too much to drink.
What's it about former Alabama quarterbacks? Namath, Stabler.
Yeah.
Probably Freddie Kitchens at a Hooters or
certain
somewhere.
zest for living.
Yeah, I think so. Speaking of spicy language, Barry, if you're offended by that, you might not want to watch the series The Tide That Binds on Fox Nation because, the assistant coaches under Kalen DeBoer, obviously they're the ones to motivate because DeBoer does not cuss, I understand. I think he said hell once in front of the team. But, boy, these assistants, wow. They can
you got to go good cop, bad cop sometimes.
They're the bad cops.
I got to check that out. That's difficult. It honestly is because – unfortunately, I guess it's a lot like society. They don't think you're tough or they don't think you're sincere unless you're dropping F-bombs and S-bombs all over the place. You don't get in somebody's face and say, golly gee, can you just give us some dadgum effort? That doesn't have the thing as doop, 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 get your in gear,
And there again, it's locker room. I call it locker room talk. I mean, those are things you don't talk about at the dinner table, but obviously in this day and age with media and whatnot, it kind of gets a little bit more out there than it did back in the 80s. But I didn't have it at that extreme, but there was some salty language when I was playing junior high and high school football. We just didn't take it home with us, and we knew better, but we heard it, and if we messed up, they let us know in that unique way. And Saban certainly did it. I mean, I've talked about the time that I was at the spring game and got to be one of the guest coaches, and we're in there before the game's kicking off, and you would think they were about to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, these assistant coaches were going ballistic on these guys.
John's great account of halftime at the spring game, at the A-Day game halftime. Kirby Smart is in there, and I mean, you have the paint on the locker room walls. It's bubbling, in the spring game.
Yeah.
So, I guess you got to kind of feel like you're getting their attention or something like that.
The interesting thing about that, Barry, the upperclassmen, the seniors, they're sitting there like, they ain't even paying attention.
Yeah.
They'd heard that for 4 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't even registering. Dre 21, he ain't even listening. He said, I've heard this too many times.
He's respatting his shoes or something like that while that's going on.
All right, so back to the second round. So Auburn, Creighton, that's a 1 versus a 9. Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I get it. What about
Creighton impressed the heck out of me.
Well, they did me too. I'm with you. But Michigan, a 5 against a 4. Michigan playing Texas A&M is going to be a great one. Arkansas and St. John's, Cal and Pitino going at it.
That's what the networks wanted. I do believe. I know that they go by seedings. Once you're seeded, then your bracket is clear in front of you. But I do believe that sometimes they'll seed you that way to get that.
Yeah.
John Calipari versus Rick Pitino. That's what they wanted. That worked out well. St. John's got off to a slow start yesterday against Nebraska Omaha, and everybody's like, no, come on, Rick, let's not mess this up. This is a dream matchup out there. Creighton and Auburn, watch out for Auburn. To me, the Auburn number 1 overall seed, they did not close the season, certainly like they'd been playing during the year. To me, the game to watch is going to be Gonzaga and Houston tomorrow. I don't want to get too far ahead. We've got great games coming up today. Gonzaga, very, very accomplished team. Houston, a number 1 seed, and they got to be the best defensive team I've seen in the tournament this year, in anywhere for the last 5 years. They will get after your behinds. That's going to be a very good one. The stars of the tournament so far, I didn't get a chance to listen to this game because we were at dinner and, one of the guys had it on his phone yesterday. Did anybody else notice this? It was in the Wofford, Tennessee game. Tennessee wins it. They were never really in trouble. The Wofford Terriers. You
mean the money line magician didn't hit on Wofford yesterday? Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah. No, they lose by 15. I couldn't figure out this guy's name. Wofford has got this dude. Did you guys see him? This dude on Wofford, he looks like he was a philosophy professor that was coming out. He was a big man. I couldn't tell you. He was a 4 or a 5, a power forward or a center for Wofford. He had the comb over, the wispy, balding head, comb over, headband on, had a little boiler, skinny bird legs and everything. The guy could play. What was his name? Because I'm looking, I'm thinking, this is my guy. The camera loves this guy. He got in foul trouble and everything. He's out there running around. I swear to gosh, he looked like one of the guys you would see in the little pickup game you got amongst the fellows over there in the accounting office at AUM. So it was.
Didn't Auburn have a punter that looked like that at one
Terry
time?
Daniel, except he wasn't balding, but he was not Terry was not a guy who did a whole lot of crunches or ab work or anything like that.
No. Babe, I'm watching the Kentucky-Arkansas game. More on that later. No, I mean
the Kansas-Arkansas
game.
Yeah.
Kansas-Arkansas game.
Right.
Yeah, Kansas. More on that later. And I think it was a player for Kansas. His last name, I swear it was Paducah. I looked at my wife and said, nobody's got the last name Paducah. The way they were pronouncing it, it sounded that way, but I'm not sure that's exactly how you spell it. I didn't know if you were familiar with that guy, if you got to watch any of that game last night. I thought, now that's an interesting name.
I did, but I didn't.
They were calling his number quite a bit in that game last night. For Bama fans looking ahead, on their bracket, if Alabama can get by Robert Morris today, and if they can possibly get by the winner of the Vanderbilt St. Mary's game, BYU and Wisconsin play tomorrow. Yep. The winner of that game will face the Tide if they can advance through the first 2 rounds. What do you think about the BYU-Wisconsin matchup on Saturday?
Watch out for BYU. I'm glad you brought that up. It's another one of my long list of themes. BYU was impressive to me. I mean, not pejorative or anything, but they always have those white guy shooters out there.
Oh, yeah.
The Danny Ainges and the Jimmer Fredette's and the guys who can, absolutely just play, and they're from some little farm in Utah, and they're older because they've had the Mormon mission and all that kind of stuff. BYU was impressive to me. Then again, Wisconsin's got some shooters as well. But, if it's Alabama, BYU, that game's going to get into the hundreds both ways, which is what the networks want. Well,
UCLA and Tennessee are going to face off as well. I know they've played football plenty of times, but that'll be a 7 versus a 2 on Saturday as well. I mentioned Drake. They're taking on Texas Tech on Saturday. Houston and Gonzaga, you talked about that. McNeese and Purdue is the other matchup that's been set with the games of yesterday. So So good games on Saturday, but you mentioned today, first and foremost, the first game today, I guess 11:15-ish.
11:15, Baylor versus Mississippi State. That's the 8 versus 9 from Raleigh. Alabama's the second game of the day. The Baylor-Mississippi State game, CBS. Alabama, Robert Morris is on True TV. There are several great CBS games. Troy and Kentucky on CBS tonight at 6:10. We'll have the radio broadcast on our Troy Sports Media Network beginning at 5:30. My buddy Matt Hardigan, huge Trojan fan, great friend of mine down in Orlando, is watching in. He says, Barry, we're ready for tonight. Go Trojans. John says, who do the Trojans of Troy play? It's Kentucky tonight. Kentucky,
Yes.
will give a preview of that in a little while, a little bit less than an hour, with Troy head coach Scott Cross, who will join us live before the game this evening. In association, John is, by the way, at Stivers Ford Lincoln on the Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway, where Price sells cars. And I love the idea, markdown madness at Stivers. Yep, it's
Barry,
going on.
F-150 is the most popular truck in America, and it has been for close to 50 years. Think about that. The most popular truck on the road today, the F-150, it has been there again for almost 50 years. Every new 2024 F-150 that's on the lot, there are hundreds here, 2.9% APR for 72 months. Two-door, four-door, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, your choice, 2.9% for 72 months. F-150 Lightning's up to $15K off, plus 0% for 75 months. The Edge SE model up to 40% off, as low as $23,995. Escape starting at $21,990, no payments for 90 days. The Bronco Sport as low as $25,990. Explorers, they revolutionized the SUV market. All-wheel drive Explorer with leather as low as $39,990. That's up to $8,000 off. Expeditions up to $15,000 off. And Mustang starting as low as $29,990. All right here during Markdown Madness at Stivers Ford in Montgomery.
Yep, he's in the showroom. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382. Or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Already back at it here with about 22 minutes to the top of the hour. A lot going on today. As we mentioned, Troy head basketball coach Scott Cross going to join us at around the halfway point of the next hour, around 8:30-ish or so. We got Missouri today in our win total as we go through every SEC school. We're on the backside of it, going in alphabetical order. The Missouri Tigers, we'll see how many wins we think they can get in 2025. The Phantoms Daily Dog. We can do it now if you want to, but we'll wait till 8:20 as we have it scheduled. I believe our man Will Fisher from RTJ up at Capitol Hill is going to pop in later today as well.
Yep.
And our Victoryland 777 topic wheel. I know we're kind of loaded up on that. We'll get into that. Maybe that might get into that here in just a moment to see what we have on the topic wheel with the tournament in full blast. Auburn with a big win yesterday. Bama playing at 11:40 today. As you mentioned, Mississippi State kind of kicking the day off against Baylor this morning.
I want to bring up this just to be able to say, number one, I fully support it, but just to be able to say that we brought it up. And I'm just saying, the women's tournament begins today.
Oh, really?
They
sure, I knew that. Yeah.
They actually have, I shouldn't say it that way because John and I got locked up in this earlier in the week. The first four was yesterday.
How did we miss it?
Because they had a first four game playing at our team meal last night, and the guys were like asking the server, "Can you get it to the Clemson?"
What lucky network broadcast the lady tournament?
ESPN or ESPN2, one or the other. ESPN. You know they don't have March Madness rights, so
yeah.
It was Columbia versus Washington.
Ooh.
And it was being played in Chapel Hill.
Huh.
And it was in the Birmingham regional. There's going to be a ton. Evidently, Chapel Hill has got the rights to it or something. It was not at the Dean Dome. It was at Carmichael Auditorium. Birmingham's big in it. Birmingham is a regional site.
Oh, wow. Good for them. Is the lady tied?
Look, but it is I don't want to get too deep into this because John's going to start asking questions, and I do not have the answers. Alabama is in. Auburn
the lady
is
tied
not
is in. Yeah.
Well,
I knew the Lady Albs weren't in because they ran their coach, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So that's going on. And the guys quickly can you turn it to the Clemson McNeese game? The server says, I will after I take your drink orders. They say, can you do it now? And then we'll tell you what we want to drink. You know, that kind of a deal. But the Clemson Tigers, they still cannot escape the verb Clemsoning.
No.
They had a great year. I think they were a 5 seed. They were taking on McNeese State. McNeese State. They insist on being called McNeese, but it's McNeese State.
All right.
It was 69-67 final. We didn't get to watch the end because we finished dinner and everything. But they were leading by a ton. Clemson, as John points out, scored 13 points in the first half. 13 against McNeese. And we were watching highlights later. I'm trying to figure out because with like a minute 10 to go, Clemson was down 10. And they end up losing by 2. I'm thinking, what was that final minute like? What in the heck, So it would. My point is that it says 69-67. Oh, they missed by that much. No, Clemson was getting that Heine beat in that.
Yeah,
game.
if Clemson would have come back and won that game, it would have been probably the most remarkable comeback in tournament history. Because 13 points in the first half, not good at all. So let me get this straight.
Yes.
So there's more similarities, more unique characteristic traits with Auburn and Clemson, because you can use Auburn as a verb, a noun, an adverb, an adjective. It seems like you can do the same thing with Clemson.
Yeah. Trying to remember all of the different etymological uses that John has used Auburn before, or Aub, interchangeable in his mind. You can Aub it up.
Yeah.
Meaning, you can have a meeting at the Ed Teague Arena with the smell of hay in the background. You can Aub it up, meaning losing in the first round to Yale as SEC tournament champion. Yeah, they were Aubing it up in that one, that kind of a thing.
That is so
what an odd thing to do, what an odd thing to do, that type of thing. So there's many different ways. And if you compare, it checks out. Man, Clemson, huh? Clemson's like Auburn in that you can use it if you're among a certain grouping of fans.
Yeah.
All you have to do whenever in this particular context, when you're with that certain group of fans and you walk in and everybody's already, got their brandy snifter and they're swirling it around, you can walk in. You don't know what the conversation's been about. You don't know what the subject. Maybe it's the maybe it's the market, maybe it's the bar cart girl out there when you played your 18. But all you have to do, you don't even have to know the subject matter. You can walk in with your buddies. You're a half hour late. They're already talking. They look up at you. Hey, John, what's happening? And you say, Auburn. Can you believe it? Or the Aubs, right? And everybody's like, yeah, you saw that. Oh, the Aubs. You can have a whole conversation just beginning.
Oh, yeah.
John just cold out of the parking lot, walks in and says, hey, John, what's up? And he says, man, Aubs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man, let me tell you a story about the Aubs. It is a
Barry, I've
conversation
been in,
facilitator.
I have been in groupings in scenarios where there's been a bunch of Bammers together, yucking it up, having a good time, maybe at the expense of Auburn. And one of our Auburn buddies will be there, and we'll just not really be, thinking about it. And maybe it just kind of slipped our mind. And then out of the blue, he'll go, guys, I'm here. Sorry. No offense. We didn't mean anything.
Yeah,
and he's a great sport about it. But his timing is perfect. He'll sit there and he'll go, fellas, I'm here. Sorry. Didn't mean anything. Nothing personal. Just all fun.
Yeah. The one thing that I always thought for years, and I covered Auburn for years, lived there for years, that would be the antidote for that amongst that certain fan base was to win a national championship.
Yeah.
Now, when Auburn won it in 2010, would I have preferred it in that context to not have an NCAA investigation into their best player for alleged payments while the season was still going on, that investigation at the end of the season? I would have preferred it if that had never happened and it had been free from adulteration or scandal or something like that. But I thought, if Auburn can just win a national championship in football, maybe it'll stop some of that. Did not stop any of that. So I'm wondering now, if Bruce Pearl leads this Auburn team to a national championship in basketball, obviously Auburn's first ever, the first ever for the state of Alabama, will that shut up the Bama fans? Again, I say to you,
nah.
No, it ain't going to do that. Won't even slow them down.
Barry,
but, it'll happen if Auburn wins a national championship, Final Four, Alamo Dome, San Antonio. Here comes Ed Bradley or something. No, I guess he's no longer with us. Here comes somebody, and they're going to say, allegations have surfaced that Bruce Pearl once hosted a cookout when he was at Tennessee for a prospective student athlete. That kind of a thing.
Sure, that's coming.
So,
I don't know if it'll come from Chris the Bammer, but Chris the Bammer has a good quote, and Range Pro has got the definition of it. Chris at 745 says, I got awed.
Yes.
You know what that means? Range Pro says, I got awed means to have a bet on the Aubs and they choke in the final seconds of a game to lose the line, but still win the game outright. I feel your Range Pro.
Ticks off a certain portion of the population. Yes.
Yeah. They don't cover, but they win the game.
But Range Pro, you've also got to add in the extra layer that after it happens, the reaction is always, I knew it, and I still did it. I knew better than to do that. I still did it. That's on me. I trusted in the Aubs. I keep telling myself I'm not going to do that anymore. But then here comes Auburn, and you're thinking,
here's
let me click on it on my online betting app. And I learn my lesson every time, but I do it again the next time it comes up.
There was a live line on Auburn yesterday at minus 20.5 when they were kind of struggling early, up 23-22. A live line at 20.5. They ended up winning by 20.
20.
That's being awed. That's getting awed. You're laying 20.5, but they only win by 20.
And they put in, and late in the game, when they were up 21 or 22, what does Pearl do? just because he's soft-hearted.
Oh,
He puts in the walk-on.
Uh,
The walk? No. What are you doing? No, don't put him on.
Don't do that.
Of course.
Don't do that.
He fires off a 3 late in the
Sure
game.
does.
He's going to get his so he can tell his grandkids someday, yep, Pop had a 3 in the NCAA tournament back in the day and everything.
Yeah.
Clanks it off there. And of course, they take it the other way and they score and everything. And you're thinking, Bruce, put the hammer down. Yeah, so there you go.
That was tough. Oh, yeah.
To answer everybody's question or the question we got, I picked Troy in the bracket.
Well,
Absolutely,
sure.
I did. Here's that's from Bama Greg. During football season, we have our bracket contest. It's with my church, and I'm
Y'all play
always
bingo
in
there too.
There's no bingo there, but they're
No
big
bingo.
on the bracket challenge. I mean, you got
Love
old
it.
ladies in there. The old ladies who sit in the pew in front of me. They say, "Hey, how'd you do?" Oh man, Wake Forest killed me. And all that kind of stuff. In that bracket, I've been playing it for years. I never come close to winning. I pick Troy in every game. Doesn't matter.
Why not? Sure.
I always pick Troy. So yeah, I'm doing that.
Heck yeah.
So yes, I feel good about Troy's chances. I do. I mean, I understand they're an underdog for a reason. Kentucky they got a couple of guys that have been gone for the year. They got another guy, Lamont Butler, who's going to play. I'm not sure how healthy he is. Meanwhile, the Trojans are healthy and ready to go. I expect a good game. That's for sure.
I do too. All right, Barry, I'm here live at Stivers, Florida, Montgomery. You're in Milwaukee getting ready for Troy and Kentucky later today. Scott Cross, head basketball coach of the Troy Trojans, will join us in about 40 minutes or so. Looking forward to that. When we come back, we got some topics on the topic wheel. One in particular I'm very interested in that I want to go over with everybody today. Also, Missouri's win total, Barry, it's at 7.5. We're going to decide if we think they're going to go over or under 7.5 with these numbers coming out recently. We've been going through the SEC. We've made our way to Missouri today. The Phantoms Daily Dog will show up in the next hour as well. We got a lot going on. I'm here live at Stivers on a beautiful but cold March Friday, but it's going to warm up. And the deals, they are just extremely hot here during Markdown Madness. Mustangs as low as $29,990. Ford Expeditions, man, load up the whole family to the game, the lake, the beach, up to $15,000 off. Explorers, all-wheel drive with leather as low as $39,990. That's up to $8,000 off. The Bronco Sport as low as $25,990. Ford Escapes, $21,990 and no payment for 90 days. The Edge SE model up to 40% off as low as $23,995. And the F-150, America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years. You can get every new 2024 at 2.9% APR for 72 months. And the Ford Lightning up to $15,000 off plus 0% APR for 75 months. Take advantage of it right now. And I'm telling you, the lot is loaded with vehicles for you to check out.
John's right in the middle of the showroom at Stivers Ford Lincoln, near the intersection of the Eastern Boulevard and the Troy Highway in Montgomery. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, getting ready for the Midwest Regional first round of the NCAA tournament. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, Marianne from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry joining us here today. Of course, Marguerite's 8163 Vaughn Road in Peppertree. And Marianne, tell us where you are today. That's a very interesting piece of equipment I see.
Exactly. Yeah, I promise it's not growing out of my head, but this is our microscope. We're not in the science lab, but jewelry, as you know, has lots of different components. And at Marguerite's, we have a fully trained staff. Myself and Benji and Lyle have all gone to GIA, which stands for the Gemological Institute of America. I did my training in Carlsbad, California. Lyle and Benji did their training in New York. And they train us to look at the anatomy of a diamond or the anatomy of a gemstone. So we look through this microscope and we can do other tests like RA and different things with acids and different types of chemicals and through different types of magnification and UV light. We can tell if a gemstone is in fact natural or synthetic or what type of stone it is. If great grandma had this green stone that she wore every day, we can tell you if it's an emerald or a peridot, lots of different things. But again, just like we've said before, we're a full service jeweler at Marguerite. So we can help you get in the know when it comes to your stone, tell you about the anatomy of your diamond, or tell you what the heck it is.
Yep, that is fantastic, Marianne. A full service jeweler. That's so important. Where you located, give us your hours of operation so our viewers and listeners can come see you.
Most definitely. 8163 Vaughn Road in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center. We're close to Chappie's Deli. We're open 7 days a week, 10 to 5:30, Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
Go by and see them, folks. Marianne and that staff can help you with all of your jewelry needs. Thanks, Marianne.
Thanks.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Couple of minutes to the top of the hour. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, and of course, in association with our friends at Yellowhammernews.com. You can check us out. They broadcast the show each and every day at Yellowhammernews.com. Have a write-up about the show in the afternoon. Get a brief wrap-up of what happened here on the program. Also, you can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify. We're on X. Really getting a lot of great reports about people getting into the bracket challenge through our QR code and all the outlets that were available, Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. So we really appreciate everybody taking advantage of that and loading up on the bracket challenge. Of course, presented and sponsored by our good friends at the Montgomery Regional Airport. Check it out at iflymgm.com. River Region Straw, premium long needle pine straw for all of your landscaping needs. Phoenix Physical Therapy, getting you back in the game is what Phoenix Physical Therapy is all about, with locations throughout the River region. And the Destin Connection Seafood Market, the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America. It's arriving daily. Yep. 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call ahead. Your order will be ready for pickup. 288-4272.
So, to recap a little bit of yesterday, Will Wade, who got fired for wrongdoing at LSU, or alleged wrongdoing.
Something about an offer.
Yeah, a big offer to a recruit who they ended up signing. And then surfaced at McNeese State, which is in the Southland Conference. They're out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is one of about 750 towns I've been through in the last 5 weeks or so, busiest 5 weeks of my life. They win yesterday, beating Clemson. They just beat the snot out of them basically for about 35 minutes. Clemson made it close later, very late in the game. Will Wade on Wednesday said he's taking the NC State job. And, of course, me being logical, I thought, McNeese State is going to tank it. They're going to be mad. Their coach is leaving. He's a lame duck coach. Well, they looked like $1 million against Clemson. A couple of teams yesterday got rid of some demons. Drake beat Missouri. Bad look for the SEC.
Ooh,
First NCAA tournament victory for Drake since 1971. BYU looked really good in their win over Virginia Commonwealth. It's not an upset. BYU's a 6 seed for a reason. That's their first tournament win since 2012 in the Jimmer Fredette games. Kansas, they're out. First loss in the first round since 2006. All the other games basically were decided by double digits. So everything else kind of went the way it was supposed to yesterday. The games today, the upsets potentially. Bama fans, I'm here to tell you, I don't think they got a problem with Robert Morris. Okay. Now, Robert Morris is 26-8. Alabama is 25-8. Don't read anything into it, because even now, I couldn't tell you what conference Robert Morris is in. I think they're in the Colonial Athletic Association, but I couldn't swear to it. No problem for Alabama today. Here in Milwaukee.
I tell you a matchup I think is going to be good and people are going to overlook. Watch out for Colorado State against Memphis.
Everybody's raving about Colorado State, and I feel like I'm missing the train, John, because I haven't been paying attention to them. They've won some ungodly number of games in a row. They're in as a 12 seed. They've been beating the brakes off of everybody against Memphis, who's all that. Memphis is 29-5 and a 5 seed, but I kind of go along with that. If you're picking a 5-12 upset today, pick Colorado State.
Yeah.
And at least it's on a TBS. It's at least one to watch, because if they make some noise, if they get through Memphis, then watch out. They could be a darling of this deal.
And how come we never hear about this team until the tournament? Grand Canyon. They're in the tournament every year. You never hear about them until tournament time. I don't know what's going on out there.
I don't even think it was a school until like 6 or 7 years ago. Grand Canyon was one of those schools that you used to be able to get an online degree from.
Yeah.
And it's like the University of Phoenix, where, I mean, it was a for-profit institution, like, Northern New Hampshire or something like that. You see those all the time on TV. I can't believe I've gone that far in this subject without John saying, you mean like that Bible college down next to the Foot Locker down in South Florida? Where
I was about to say it. That was the next thing coming out of my mouth. Yep.
Grand Canyon are the Antelopes. They're in as a 13 seed. Their head coach is Bryce Drew, who used to be the head coach at Vanderbilt. Grand Canyon has got a ton of money. They've got a really good, favorable conference to be in. They take on the Maryland Terrapins. Maryland has a bit of a history of choking in the early rounds. Watch out for that. Games to watch, the ones you'd kind of like to see, besides, your favorite team or whatever. Troy versus Kentucky. I think that's good.
You tweaked my I should know this, Barry. I know that school had a name other than that Bible college above the Foot Locker and a strip mall. What was the actual name of that school?
See, you brought that up pretty much every time we talk about schools with suspect academic records.
Yeah.
And I always want to Google that, because basically the dynamic on this show is John asks questions and then waits for me to either give him the answer or look up. John will always, anytime he begins a sentence by saying, I should Google this, that means Barry Google this.
Which is tough when Barry's out. I got to Google it myself.
I don't know how to Google that, because I've tried before. It's not a Bible college, for one thing. It's just a regular school. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
What do you Google? Chris Davis, Moochie Norris, suspect, credit, hours. What search parameters do you use?
Here's one. How to pass a semester in 2 weeks.
Actually, I think it was a little bit more than a semester. Well, a longshore semester, which usually ended up being about 6 hours. But a regular semester. I don't know how to Google that. Bible College, South Florida, Moochie Norris.
Above a Foot Locker.
It was next to the Foot Locker.
Next to the Foot Locker.
But I don't know how to do this. We're into our second hour of the show. Again, for those of you who are just tuning in, Troy head basketball coach Scott Cross previews the Midwest Regional first round, Troy versus Kentucky. He'll join us at the bottom of this hour. John is at Stivers Ford Lincoln, Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway. I am in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, hopefully for the second day of about 4 days. If the Trojans are successful out here.
Did you pack enough? Did you bring enough clothes with you?
Yeah, we talked it over. We're going to suit up for this one. Normally, because of COVID, I used to always wear suits. I still wear suits at the home basketball games at Troy because, it's on television. But we're wearing the suits tonight.
Good for you, awesome.
Which is which means a little bit extra room is taken up in your suitcase. But I absolutely packed up enough. I'm ready to go. So talking a lot of hoops today.
Oh, you better believe it. We got a lot to go this hour. Got the Victoryland 777 topic wheel, the Phantoms Daily Dog. But right now, Barry, let's go over the Missouri Tigers football for 2025. Their win total is 7.5. And the way I've been kind of doing this is looking at the non-conference schedule first, then going over the conference schedule. I think they can win all of their conference games, but I need a little help with 2 of them. I think Kansas could give them a scare, an old Big 8 matchup,
I do
I
too.
believe.
Yeah.
And the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana, I'm not sure really what to expect out of them in the upcoming fall.
Yeah. Kansas is a good call. Kansas is going to be pretty good. I love their coach, Lance Leipold. Louisiana, they played for the Sun Belt Championship last year. They lost badly to Marshall. Cajuns will be okay. I don't think they'll win it. Cajuns lost their starting quarterback. Are you not interested in what's coming out of Conway, Arkansas in the opener? The purple-clad Bears of Central Arkansas?
I'm not sure I've ever heard of Central Arkansas.
Scottie Pippen went there. That's basically all I can tell you.
All right.
The 4 non-conference games, Central Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, and Massachusetts. So those are 3 schools with the state in their name. So you'd figure they'd be legit. For Missouri to get over the what do you have for Missouri? The total
7.5.
7.5. For them to go over the 7.5, they're going to win all 4. I feel confident they're going to win 3. They'll beat Central Arkansas. They'll beat Louisiana. They'll beat UMass. But I'm with you. I'm a little skittish about Kansas. All I know about this, really, the thing to know about Missouri, they had a really good quarterback who I really liked last year. His name was Brady Cook. He led them to several really critical victories for the Missouri program under Eli Drinkwitz over the last 2 years. He was hurt against Alabama, and, John, they couldn't move the football out of a wet paper bag without him out there. He's graduated. He's gone.
That was either 34 or 38 to nothing. I can't remember exactly the score.
34 to nothing. 34 to nothing, and God bless Kalen DeBoer because it could have been 68 to nothing if he wanted it to be.
I like
so I
the
have big
fact
questions there.
That Missouri's actually they play Kansas at home, they play South Carolina and Alabama at home in the first half of the season. They go to Auburn, they go to Vanderbilt, A&M at home, State at home, Oklahoma and Arkansas on the road. By the time they get to Arkansas at the end of the season, Arkansas might have an interim head coach at that point. Who knows? I don't know. I think Vegas has got it right on the number because the Kansas game kind of has me thinking, but it is at home. But I'm thinking, Alabama, A&M, Auburn are probably going to be the 3 most difficult games for Missouri. You throw in maybe another one, like a game in Norman against Oklahoma, possibly. I can see this team going 8-4. For some reason, 7-5 seems. I'm kind of leaning that way, but right now I think I'm going to go 8-4. I think I'm going to go over 7.5 with Missouri.
I got to go under. With Missouri at 7. Again, Brady Cook is gone. When he was injured, you'll remember against Alabama, and they didn't score a point. Drew Pine, the transfer from Notre Dame, the transfer from Arizona State, was at Missouri because he thought he could win the job. He was out there. He ain't the answer. Drew Pine looked like riding the pine in that one. They got a guy named Sam Horn that we've heard from our guy Ben Arnett that they really like. He hasn't really done much. They got a Penn State transfer named Bo Pribula. Don't know much about him. I can't go over 7.5. I can't go 8 wins for a team that, boy, you just don't know if they're going to be able to move the football.
Missouri's first 6 games are at home, and they've got an off week before. Oh, look at that. Alabama. Go figure.
Now, I know what you're going to say. I know what you guys are already saying in the background. I can hear you chirping. Auburn played their first 5 games at home last year. What did it do for them? Fair point.
Look, we're not comparing the rest of the college football world with Auburn, are we? Are we doing that?
Have we ever done that? Has that ever been a thing?
Gurns, thanks for that. That's there's the Missouri schedule. Gurns popped up on the screen.
Nicely done.
I don't know if Gurns got the Victorland topic wheel ready today. I know there's one topic I'm really interested in getting to before we get to the Phantoms Daily Dog here in about 10 minutes. And we talk about this just about every year, but Barry, I think it popped up a little earlier this year than I have seen in years past. Chris the Bammer has been I've noticed, Barry, if I even mentioned the wheel earlier in the show, Chris wants it on right then.
Let's go.
We normally do it later in the show, but because of our guest lineup in the latter half, we're going to go ahead and do it now. So, Chris, this is for you, my man.
Yeah, here we go.
The Victorland 777 topic wheel.
I think we got
see
7.
It. Whoa, look at all these. Sheesh. All
3
right.
shades of green. We had to go to the deep shades.
Okay. Wasn't it 30 shades of gray or something like that? Anyway, all right, let's go, Gern. Whoa, wait a minute. The wheel got stuck. No, here we go. All right.
Here we go. Yeah.
Ooh. Skeens? Am I pronouncing that right?
You are.
Skeens? What could this
For those,
be?
Bill from Baltimore, you know what he's talking about. Phenomenal Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher Paul Skeens, who pitched with LSU, helped lead them to a national championship. This is one of those stories that our boy Josh Harris, our Bama super fan, who is in the collectible business, his MLB debut card, $1.11 million in the baseball card market. 1.1.
Whoa.
1.11. Don't want to discount that last 10,000.
Sure.
$million. It got auctioned off. It was auctioned off by an 11-year-old kid.
Hey, Petey, look at this.
An autographed Paul Skeens rookie. The autograph was the big deal. Autographed Paul Skeens rookie card. I mean, he played at LSU, and he was a major league pitcher even when he was at LSU. Got drafted, went to the Pirates, only played about 2 months in minor league ball, went to the Pirates last year. They called him up, and he absolutely dominated, started the All-Star game. Anyway, this kid, he's only 11. They haven't mentioned his name. He got a $320 box of Topps Chrome 2024 baseball cards as his Christmas present. And in that box was an autographed card from Paul Skeens.
Whoa, that's like finding the golden ticket in a Wonka bar.
Now, the Pirates themselves offered 2 season tickets for 30 years, to which his father said, I think he suffered it. No. Paul Skeens' girlfriend, Olivia Dunn, who has about 1 billion followers on Instagram and is a former LSU gymnast, even offered to go on a date with the kid and have him watch a Pirates game from her suite at Pittsburgh's PNC Park. Kid, not being an idiot, didn't do that. They put it on auction, and it is at $1.1 million for it. 11-year-old kid has just made some bank just
Good
from
for him.
Hey, he found this card.
Like I say, like a Wonka golden ticket. Love it.
No doubt. Yes.
All right, Gern, let's get it spinning here again. Well,
that's
a good one. That was a good one there. I'd not heard that. I'm not a baseball card collector, but we'll have to ask the middleman, the money line magician, about that on Monday.
Yeah, we're also going to ask him about that Walker pick.
Whoa, yeah, boy, no kidding.
Yeah.
All right, we're at Dunkaroos. Now, it's funny, I'm not sure where this is. I was at Dunkin' Donuts earlier this week. I went before our broadcast at the airport on Wednesday, but obviously we're talking about dunking in basketball here. I see the clip Gern's got ready for us.
Up ahead of the pack!
Whoa.
That's it. With the
this is McNeese Clemson. Watch this over the shoulder.
On the verge here.
Yeah. I mean, Clemson was so bad. Bad.
Maybe that's why they only scored 13 in the first half. That was a heck of a dunk. I like that.
Giving up a ton of them. Yeah, there was a lot of good ones in there. And yesterday at the Troy team practice, the open practice, they also had the press conference with Coach Cross in front of, the whole national media and the 2 players, Jackson Fields and Tatum Conaway. And it all reeked of big time. They had him in. They had Coach Cross in. You may see this in the game. They asked him to give him some energy, and he said, "Let's go," and all this kind of stuff, for the cameras to use as a montage in the pregame and everything. That's what they're looking for on the NCAA March Madness telecast. They're looking for highlight stuff. And believe me, McNeese gave them enough of that. And a lot of them, they're looking for the dunks. You're going to see 10 million dunks,
yeah.
and the players know it. If there's a breakaway dunk like that, they're going to give them a little extra because you know what? They want to be on that one shining Luther Vandross moment at the very end, that montage.
Luther
so you're going to see it.
Vandross.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh, that's a good one, Gern. I love the
Good
dunks
stuff.
myself. Let's keep it
Gern's
going.
hitting it out of the park on the wheels
Man,
so far.
Chris is loving it.
Like
so is
it.
Theotis. Man, I'm looking at the chat
Dunkaroos.
line. It is blowing up today.
Do they even make
Whoa.
Dunkaroos anymore?
They call them munchkins. Oh, menu.
Yeah.
This is the one I wanted to get to, Barry. Earlier this week,
Right.
Scotty Scheffler released the menu for the Champions Dinner at Augusta National.
Whoop, the dadgum do. Okay, yeah,
Yep.
all right.
This is what caught my attention, though, Barry. The menu I found to be very interesting. Now, Scotty's a little young. April the 8th is when the Champions Dinner, all the former champions and the chairman of Augusta. He is the only member that can be at the Champions Dinner. No other member at Augusta is allowed to be there except the chairman and the former winners.
Who is the chairman? It's not Clifford Roberts, is it? He's
No,
with us, right?
Cliff
No longer,
took his life
okay.
many years ago. I'm not sure Gary and Jack
Billy Payton?
and some of the other, he's a former chairman. I'm not sure exactly who the Fred Ridley, maybe I think is the chairman now. But I have to look to check that out. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Here's the menu.
All right.
Cheeseburger sliders served Scotty style. Firecracker shrimp, sweet Thai chili mayo. Papa
What is
Chef's
this, a sports bar?
Yeah, really.
Papa Chef's meatball and ravioli bites?
Oh, yeah. Texas-style chili with cheddar cheese, jalapeno, and corn chips. Barry, by the time they get to this point, they better be lighting matches, spraying Lysol, and have a box of Maalox.
Do not go in there. Woo! Yeah, I want to.
They haven't even got to the entree yet.
Scheffler was actually making Papa Chef's meatball and ravioli bites when he had that hand injury that he didn't start the year. I think he cut himself or something like that and delayed his start to the year. So it's kind of an homage to that. Okay, so if you survive the cheeseburger sliders, the firecracker shrimp with sweet Thai chili and sriracha mayo. Oh, sriracha
then you got the
mayo.
meatball
Hey,
and ravioli bites, the Texas chili. Then you get your choice of a wood-fired cowboy ribeye steak or blackened redfish, probably coming from the Destin Connection Seafood Market if I had to bet on it.
Smart, yeah.
Yeah.
Family-style macaroni and cheese. Jalapeno creamed corn. John, there's going to be guys out there that are going to be playing with the pens.
Well, the good thing about it, Barry, this dinner's on Tuesday night, and the first round's not until Thursday.
Yeah,
now,
to use the immortal lyrics from the Beatles, we can work it out.
Woo. They might have to have some porta potties on the par 3 contest on Wednesday just in case. Woo! What a menu.
Soy glazed Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts. My wife makes them great. Soy glazed, and get this, chipotle lime roasted sweet potatoes. There's not a word in that dish that I like. Not a word. Sweet potatoes.
No, Hall Thompson is not the chairman of Hall's not with us either, but he was a member of Augusta.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Chris. But yeah, Barry, I guess they're giving a lot of variety, but really isn't a lot of variety. That's a lot of heavy, fatty, greasy,
spicy,
gas-producing foods.
Gaseous. Texas-style chili with cheddar cheese, jalapenos, and corn chips.
Unbelievable.
John, that isn't a first course. That is a nuclear explosion.
That's tough. Tough stuff.
Yeah,
all right, let's try to get one more in, Gern. before we get to the Phantom's Daily Dog here? What else we got?
Yeah, what else we
get
got
to here today?
Good gosh, that's making my
knows
eyes
what-
water.
Oh boy!
Wow.
Oh yeah. Well, certainly.
Yeah.
Talking about Troy, of course. I know we're talking about basketball tonight against Kentucky.
Yeah.
What about baseball this weekend?
Yeah, basketball tonight in the NCAA first round up here in Milwaukee. We're about 10 minutes away from a live visit with head coach Scott Cross. That's on CBS tonight. We have the radio call. Also, baseball, big series. 2 ranked teams at Riddle Pace Field in Troy. The number 18 Trojans against Coastal Carolina. Because of basketball tonight, they've moved the baseball game up. Starts at 3 o'clock today. Tomorrow's game starts at 3:33, Sunday at 1 o'clock at Riddle Pace Field. Tickets available. It's going to be a tremendous series. The two top teams in the Sun Belt Conference in Troy. Tickets available at troytrojans.com/tickets.
All right, let's. What do you say we take a break? We'll come back and release the Phantom's Daily Dog. Tell you how he did yesterday, and get ready for Coach Scott Cross, the Troy men's head basketball coach, will join us.
Also, people are asking. We got to recap Phantom's Daily Dog from yesterday too, so we'll get to that.
Oh, sure,
as well. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Well, the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers are really hot in college basketball. And so are the deals at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Alabama and Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram truck dealer is Stivers in Prattville. And at Stivers, they have the largest selection of Ram trucks priced at thousands less than other dealers. How about a 2025 Ram Bighorn 4x4 crew cab with savings of up to $15,000 off sticker price? Also at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, they have fantastic savings on the entire Jeep lineup, like the Wranglers and Jeep Grand Cherokees. Head over to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville, where Price sells cars and trucks. Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. About 23 minutes past the hour on this Friday. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. Check it out at yellowhammernews.com. I'm here at Stivers Ford Montgomery. Barry is in Milwaukee, getting ready for Troy and Kentucky later tonight. All right, Barry, here's what happened. The Phantom's Daily Dog. You might have been watching it. I thought it was one of the biggest matchups of the night. Arkansas going up against Kansas. Bill Self and the Jayhawks going up against Calipari and the Hogs.
Kansas had not lost a first-round NCAA tournament game in 19 years. Do you think that even slowed the Phantom down?
No, not. And, you know, Barry, Kansas could have won the game, but they didn't. And we were catching 5.5 along the way. Arkansas plus the 5.5 wins the game outright against the Kansas Jayhawks. Arkansas will move on. They'll play St. John's, but a big winner for the Phantom yesterday is Phantom's Daily Dog. Been on a little run lately, just saying. If you haven't been paying attention, that's your fault.
Yeah.
So tonight,
now this evening? Dun, dun,
We're
dun,
going to
dun.
go to 8:25 on TNT. 8:25 TNT.
From Raleigh, North Carolina, it looks like.
It does look that way. Where Oklahoma, as a 5.5-point underdog, is going up against the would you call them do you call them the reigning national champions?
The
What are they
two-time
called?
reigning national champions, trying to be the first three-peat winners since UCLA was winning like 8 in a row or something back in the 60s.
Well, we're not sure they're going to win tonight. They might, but we don't think they're going to win by more than 5.5. So we're taking Boomer Sooner and Oklahoma plus 5.5 in Raleigh, taking on UConn, 8:25 on TNT.
Been a pretty good stretch. I like this one. The 8 versus 9 sometimes is really hard to pick. I mean, they're 8 versus 9 for a reason. It's close. But there are several that you could pick on there. That one, to me, the line looks a little bit inflated, if you ask me. So,
okay.
So there
All right.
go.
We like that. So there you have it, our daily dog today, Oklahoma plus the 5.5. And you're right, it's a good 8-9 matchup. I think a lot of people, I would probably think, Barry, a lot of people on their bracket as they filled them out, maybe not paying much of attention, but they know UConn. They know the two-time national champion. Oh, yeah, I'm putting UConn in. Yeah.
Without even really thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like John said, they may win. Hey, maybe that. Yeah, go Huskies.
But we just don't want them. What did Range Pro say? Getting awed. That's when UConn wins the game and they cover. That's not what we're looking for. If they're going to win the game, we need them to win it by less than 5.
And if they don't cover, I hope they lose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ain't no doubt. Now, look, if Oklahoma can't cover today, Barry, I hope they get blown out. I mean, I hope it's – wait a minute. That's not very SEC friendly. Is the SEC paying for my losses? No, they're not.
No. Does the Phantom go to Greg Sankey with a bill for reimbursement? He might. Knowing the Phantom, he might. It had never been paid off, though. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll preview the Troy-Kentucky game with the head coach of the Troy Trojans, Scott Cross. He'll join us. John is live at Stivers Ford Lincoln, Eastern Boulevard of the Troy Highway. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for the Midwest Regional First Round, which starts this morning. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316. All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Okay, we're back at it here on this Friday. I'm here live at Stivers Ford in Montgomery. Troy head basketball coach Scott Cross going to join us here in just a moment. Barry, whoa, there he is.
There he is.
There's the coach right there. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Coach, good morning. How you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing really well. Appreciate you being with us here today on game day, Coach. Everybody is talking about Troy basketball as it kind of being a dream season. For maybe I can understand them saying it feels like a dream, but I know how much work went into this. Talk about the evolution of this team to get to this point where you're playing on national TV in the NCAA tournament against one of the blue bloods of college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a long season, but at the same time, it's also seemed like in the blink of an eye, it's passed by. But we've had our share of adversity and ups and downs. We started the season with 3 really, really tough games, and Arkansas, Oregon, U of H, those were early on. And, U of H is arguably either the first or second best defense in the country, depending on who you're asking. And we knew going into that game we wouldn't face anybody as tough as them defensively. So definitely prepares you for a moment like this. Throughout conference, every single game was either a close game or we won by a lot. So our 5 losses were combined 14 points. Each of those losses definitely hurt. And each of those games, we either had, a double-figure lead or lost it in the last, minute or so. And so I think after that last loss against Louisiana, the guys finally just decided collectively that it didn't matter whether they were playing good offensively or not. They were going to defend and they were going to rebound and they were going to be great teammates. And I think that's kind of been the difference, those last couple games in the regular season and then the 3 games in the conference tournament, because all of our guys can be great, great defenders and rebounders. And, we rebound at a very, very high rate. And, we have an 11-man rotation a lot of times. And some days it may be their time. Other days it may be somebody else's time. And so I think when they just decided that they were going to do what's best for the greater good of the basketball team, that's when the magic started happening.
Coach, I hear a lot of these college basketball analysts talk about when you get to the tournament, guard play is so important. You got to have really good quality guard play. First of all, do you subscribe to that? And talk a little bit about your guards.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been to the tournament enough. Last time was 2008. So, but, as you watch it, obviously I'm a big college basketball fan. There's probably Rothstein and then there's me in terms of watching college basketball. That's what we watch. Last couple of years in Troy, we hadn't been in the tournament. We have 4 TVs on in the living room and we're watching all the games. And so I would say yes. To answer your question, teams that usually upset the lower or the better, higher seeded programs, typically they do shoot the 3 extremely well. They probably have really, really good guards and, probably defend at a high level. I think we do some things. We don't shoot it at a high level. I think we have really good shooters. We probably take, a lot of threes, and maybe that's a little bit why our percentage is a little bit lower. But the way we offensive rebound, the way we defend the rim, the way we create turnovers, I also think those are aspects of potentially upsetting a team that's seated a lot higher than we are.
Coach, you pointed this out yesterday in your media session with the national media at the Fiserv Forum. Troy is top 5 or top 6 in the country in offensive rebounding, but yet I think you said Jackson Fields is 6'7". Thomas Dowd maybe 6'6", 6'7". There are bigger teams out there. How are you getting that done?
We rebound with 5. It's called tagging. The UNC Charlotte coach Aaron Fern presented Alabama coaching clinic I was at. Usually I go to those coaching clinics and you come away feeling like you know nothing because there's so many good ideas and so many good coaches there. But it made so much sense. He presented in a way where it's very, very easy to understand. It goes against everything you've ever been taught your entire life in basketball. Usually when the shot goes up, you either send 3 guys to the glass and you get 2 guys back, or 4 guys to the glass and you get 1 guy back. I've done that my whole career. Well, tagging, you're sending 5 guys to the glass. So essentially whoever's blocking you out, that's who you're going to guard. And you try and, drive them into the paint, and then you get the long rebounds. And so you worry about, well, are you going to give up a layup on the other end? Well, you've seen our games. We have done that at times, but doesn't happen very often. And when our guys do it correctly, we never give up a layup. So we get a lot of long rebounds, and we do have tough guys. If you're not tough, you're not going to be very good at tagging, but I think it adds a level of physicality to our basketball team. And then, a guy like Thomas Dowd, who has a heart, as big as anybody, and Jackson Fields and those guys, I mean, they end up getting lots of extra possessions for us. And then, Theo does a great job of it. When RJ comes in the game, he does a great job. So we have so many guys that kind of contribute. It's not like necessarily one guy just stands out, but collectively we end up being a very good offensive rebounding team.
Coach, you mentioned it's been a while since Troy's been to the tournament, you as well. Talk about just what this is like, what the NCAA is presenting to you, what you've seen in a 48-hour period, from the travel to the accommodations. You get to the arena, the networks are there talking to you and your players, getting some clips that they can use during the broadcast tonight. It's just, I know it's got to be a very exciting, but the ramping it up and just at the next level in terms of just, it's a big event just because of everything that you're going through.
Yeah, you want it's good and bad. You want your guys to get used to it, so you plan on getting back here every single year, but you don't want them to get so used to it that they think they're going to travel that way during the regular season because it is special. It is different. You drive right through, the airport gate and you're escorted by the police and you go right onto this private jet and, you leave and you're there in an hour and a half. And Barry can tell you, we've had some 10-hour, many 10-hour bus trips. We've had many bus trips where we had to go a second day because the driver can't drive any longer than 10 hours in one day. So, coming here, it is an unbelievable experience. You're going to have a police escort everywhere you go, going into that arena, seeing all the studios set up, all the media there. There's media there that are taking pictures and photographs as you're walking into the locker room. I mean, it's definitely different than anything we've ever been around. Like this hoodie that I have on, the packages that they give to the players and to the coaches, it is special. It's a little bit surreal. You soak it all up, but the only thing that I ask of our guys is, when we step across the line for practice, we're going to be locked in, we're going to be focused. And then the same thing tonight. I do want them to enjoy the moment because, again, you don't know when the next time it's going to happen. It's hard to do in the Sun Belt Conference. There's 14 teams. Probably at least 6 of them had a legitimate chance of winning the championship. Yeah. And we had a 4-way tie for first place. So 4 teams, but I think the 5th and 6th seed easily could have won it as well. And, the 14th seeded team ended up deciding the conference championship by beating the number 1 team twice.
Yeah.
So it's so even. It's very, very difficult to do. Only one team's going to be able to go to the NCAA tournament. And we're very, very thankful to the good Lord and thankful to our guys for how hard they played throughout the season and how they came together and just did it for the betterment of the basketball team.
For the general basketball public who sees this matchup, a 3 versus a 14, they see Kentucky, and for a lot of them, they don't even really bother to delve into, well, Kentucky's Kentucky. They've played more tournament games than anybody. They've won more tournament games than anybody. Obviously, you've been a lot more specific. What do you see as about this Kentucky team this year?
They score the ball with the best of the best. They'll be, they're better probably than even Oregon in terms of scoring the basketball, which is a little bit scary because Oregon could really score it. They pass the ball extremely well. They've got tons of weapons. We're familiar with Kobe Bray. We played him last year at Dayton, and I followed that team all year long after we lost that game. And he's arguably the best shooter. If not, he's got to be a top 3 or 4 shooter in the country. We can't let him get going. Their big man Amari Williams is probably one of the best passers, a little bit like Jokic in terms of his passing ability. So, he really kind of keeps you honest defensively. And if a guy cuts back door and you don't guard it correctly, they're going to get a layup or they're going to get a wide open 3. Lamont Butler hasn't been playing. We also played him when he was at San Diego State 2 years ago. And we know what type of player he is. He was very, very good then. I think he's kind of the heartbeat of their defense. Supposedly, they are getting him back for the NCAA tournament. I would say defensively, he's going to give them a big lift. Always, guy that's just a very, very violent driver and finisher, and also gives them a little toughness as well. Guy maybe similar to Miles Rigsby on our team in a lot of ways. Andrew Carr, very similar matchup to Thomas Dowd, a guy that can, shoot the ball, but also can score inside and very, very skilled. So they're a tough team. I'm hopeful that our offensive rebounding will create extra possessions against them, and then our ability to turn teams over and create steals that we can get some possessions. But they're not a team that, really, really turns the ball over. So, it'll kind of be a matchup of what wins out, the toughness and the aggressiveness of the defense or the skill level of the offense. And that's why we play the games, and we're excited about it. I think our guys definitely do believe that they can win this game, but it's not going to be an easy task. It'll be somewhat similar to playing the Oregons, Arkansas, and Houstons of the world.
So, Coach, it's about 20 minutes to 9 a.m. in the morning. What happens the rest of the day? I mean, I know you're probably sitting on pins and needles. You're probably ready, but you got to kind of pace yourself. You don't want to peak too soon. So how's the day going before you head to the arena and you go out there and put the uniforms on and start bouncing the balls?
Yeah, we'll eat breakfast as a team. Then we'll watch film for about 30 minutes or so. And then we'll go, I believe we're going to Marquette to practice. We could have went to the arena, but they only give you maybe 20 minutes to shoot in there. So we'll have an hour-long shoot around where we'll walk through their sets and, shoot a little bit. And then, guys will come back and have a couple hours. Then we'll have our pregame meal, I think like 3.5 hours before the game. And then 2 hours before the game, we'll leave and get going and warm up and then hook it up and play.
I'm looking forward to it, Coach. Thanks so much for taking time on game day to visit with us. Best of luck. The eyes of the nation are going to be on you. Good luck with it all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. Wow, what a treat. Scott Cross, head men's basketball coach at Troy University, joining us, as Barry mentioned, on game day tonight, going up against the Kentucky Wildcats. I've been saying it all week, Barry. I can only pick one Phantom's Daily Dog. And I like this one earlier in the week. Something about Oklahoma catching that 5.5 nudged me a little bit. But I'm telling you, I'm not sure Troy's going to win the game. I got to be totally honest with you. But I really do think Troy can keep this game close. I think Vegas has got this number a little out of whack. I think Troy's catching too many here. But I think it's going to be a good game. I'm not expecting to see some of these 20, 30-point blowouts that we've seen in some of these earlier games yesterday.
Well, Coach Cross has said this earlier in the week. There's always, it seems to be, a 3 versus 14 upset. Heck, the last two times that Kentucky came into the tournament as a 3 seed, they got upset in the first round. Last year it was against Oakland University. They had this kid who got hot, Jack, I can't remember his last name, who hit like 8 threes against him for Oakland. And 2 years ago, they lost to St. Peter's as a 3 seed under Calipari. So it always happens. And Coach Cross is right. He says, I think we're the best 14 seed out there. So why not us? It's going to be interesting. Again, 6-10 tonight in the Midwest Regional first round up here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Much, much appreciation for Scott Cross for taking some time to join us today.
All right, let me tell you what we got going on. I know Will Fisher, the director of golf at Capitol Hill on the RTJ Trail, is going to join us here when we get back from our next break. But as we lead into it, we've got markdown madness going on right here at Stivers Ford. Look, if your bracket looks good, if your bracket looks bad, it doesn't matter. Everybody's bracket's going to be a big winner here at Stivers. Barry, here we are, middle of the month, tournament's going on, everybody's excited. Markdown madness here at Stivers. Listen up. America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years in a row. That's right. Nobody else has touched the F-150. There are hundreds in stock here for you to choose from. Every new 2024 Ford F-150 at 2.9% APR for 72 months. An F-150 Lightning Edition up to $15,000 off plus 0% for 75 months. The Ford Edge SE model up to 40% off as low as $23,995. Ford Escape starting at $21,990 with no payments for 90 days. The Ford Bronco So many different options, so many different models. The Bronco Sport starting as low as $25,990. The Explorer that started the SUV craze back in the 80s, all-wheel drive with leather as low as $39,990. That's up to $8,000 off. The Ford Expedition, load the whole family, the whole gang up, head to the game, head to the beach, $15,000 off.
Whoa.
And Ford Mustangs starting as low as $29,990. That's just a few of the many great deals going on right here, right now at Stivers Ford, where price sells cars.
Yep, your team may not be a winner in the tournament, but you certainly can drive off a winner at Stivers. That's where John is in the showroom. I'm here in Milwaukee in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination Golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Okay, back at it here, about 13 minutes or so until the top of the hour. Of course, Troy basketball later tonight. Alabama tipping off in about, what is that, 3 hours or so? A little less than 3 hours?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're
So,
feeling it. Tons of games. I am ready for it.
I'm kind of wondering how Will Fisher's bracket is looking. He's going to join us here in just a moment. He's the director of golf at Capitol Hill and the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
Yeah.
Will, how's that bracket looking, man?
Well, I don't believe like Mike Greeny in the sheets of integrity. I have 6 brackets. I do have one that is in 22nd out of, I don't know, a couple hundred brackets, but some of the bigger pools I'm in, one of them I'm down toward the very bottom. So that was the upset bracket is what I'm going to go with. I picked a lot of upsets yesterday. I thought A&M was susceptible to being beat by Yale. I almost got the UC San Diego one right. But
yeah, they had that game.
Oh man, and let me tell you. The one that is the biggest heartbreaking is Clemson. I actually had them in the Sweet 16 in several brackets, and they just got, just smoked.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about this, and I know you had to watch the Tennessee game. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Wofford had this guy. We were talking about him. Balding, comb over, a little bit of a belly, headband on. He looked like the guy that you're going to see playing in the church league, in the 40 and over league. I'm thinking,
yes, that's exactly what I said too. This is we got a guy from church league guy.
That's America's guy right there. He's out there playing in the tournament for the rest of us,
That's correct. Yeah, that's like the kid that played at Indiana State a couple of years ago. That was the next coming of Larry Bird, so to speak.
Yeah, I think his name was Robbie. His name was Robbie Avila or something like that. And they called him Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like Cream, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I mean, the only thing missing is if this guy would have gone over to the bench and lit up a cigarette and popped a beer open. I mean, that's the only thing missing with this guy. Oh, I love it. Yeah, he's America's player. There's no doubt. He is church league guy. I've seen him 100 times. So, yeah, a couple of bracket busters. Will, we were talking. I tell you, we don't think about these teams during the regular season, but Creighton, Drake, St. John's, McNeese, watch out. These are the teams that bust a lot of brackets. And I'm telling you, Drake, to me, looked really good yesterday. I'm really going to be paying attention to Drake. They got Texas Tech coming up next.
Yeah, I was not really that surprised at McNeese. I thought I've said publicly a couple of times to guys here in the shop and stuff, I thought Will Wade did a great job of handling that situation. In this day and age, everybody understands that, with social media, you need to be upfront with those kids. They're going to know it. They're going to be able to read through you if you're not telling the truth anyway. He embraced it and admitted that and basically told the guys, let's hop on and let's take one last ride together as a group. And you knew they were going to play hard for Will. And then I totally agree. I mean, Drake having 4 guys come over from the Division II level where they had won some national titles and come in and bring that system over to Drake. You knew those guys were going to play well. They were one of the best teams all year in the country. And so just because they don't play in a big league doesn't mean they can't hang with some of these teams. So I think Drake's going to be a real chance, or McNeese, one of those two is probably your real chance of being your Cinderella team for the year that make it to the Sweet 16 or even maybe the Elite 8.
All right. Now we're getting closer to the Masters. Everybody's really got the vibe. Heck, Rory McIlroy wins in a pretty doggone good TPC championship. I know anybody who's watching us from outside the local area, they see how Will is dressed, and they're knowing that it ain't exactly pristine conditions out there. But we're getting to that point of the year, Will. How are things looking at Capitol Hill?
Yeah, we're in really good shape and very excited for the fall or for the spring. I'm sorry, but greens are in great shape. Speeds are coming along. As we've had some warm weather, we've had some this week. I know it's a little colder today, but as that warm weather starts to become more of a common theme, that overseed really loves that. So now you really get the contrast between the overseeded fairways and the dormant rough. I love that look, always have. And so to me, I think this is some of the neatest times of the year. And you're 100% right, Barry. I think in our state, especially, there's college football, there's hunting, and then there's golf. And if you try to get out of the order, then you're going to get all messed up. So you got to stay in your position. Now it's coming up on golf season,
right?
And we'll get through these next couple of weeks with March Madness. Masters will come, and we've got the opening day of MLB, and so this is a great time for golf and great time for sports in general.
Yeah, and I know a lot of your tourists, a lot of your out-of-staters from up north, days like today, beautiful skies, not a cloud out there, might be a little chilly, but they think it's the middle of summer. If they're from Wisconsin or upstate New York, they're loving these conditions, and I know that's a lot of fun for them as well. You've touched on this with us, Will. I ran into Mike Beverly the other night at dinner, and we started talking. I asked him about what's going on at the legislature. Of course, man, it sounds so exciting. I cannot wait to see that finished product.
Yeah. No, it's going to be great. We've got again, the bones and the structure of what we've got to work with from Mr. Jones and his company is phenomenal. We want to make it a little bit player friendly in certain areas. If you're familiar with the facility, number 8 green was really difficult. So we've kind of softened that up a little bit. We're going to move some bunkers around, take some out, make some a little bit bigger so that visually when you play from a player standpoint, you kind of understand where we want how we want the shape, the shot, so to speak. And the other thing is just refreshing the greens back to the original size and with some new grass. Grass was fine, but every so often you got it. These things have lifespans, and we're on 25 years now, so it was time to do that. And then it sounds like we're pretty sure for Mr. Beverly we're going to be moving on to the judge next year and doing some of the same things. So I love it. That's one of the main reasons that I love working for the trail is the RSA and Dr. Bronner really invest back into their entities and try to keep them first class. And we're doing that. And we've done the same thing with the Performance Center as well, which we, is up and running. So it's all first class. We try to keep it that way. And then John, in November of this year, we look to try to do some improvements on the practice area, which we already know is really, really good out here.
Well, where's that? What are you talking about? Practice area?
Right, yeah, I know that you
what?
You only know the driving range when it comes demo days, right?
Yeah.
When you can go up there and demo day a driver, maybe sneak it in your bag. Hopefully somebody gives you a call a couple of months later, down the road. Hey, I'm looking for this driver. Do you still have it? Oh, yes. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, man, my bad.
Right. Those items take place at the practice facility and the driving range. So we're going to upgrade that and really, really give it again, take it to the next level for us. We believe, and we'll be doing some of that in November and December of this year, getting ready and going into the 26th season. So we're excited about that as well.
Man, no kidding. All right, before we let you go, you got an upset today?
Oh, man.
The only upset I got is John reading out Scotty Scheffler's Masters Masters dinner menu.
I mean that menu will.
Listen. I know I'm a big boy and I like to eat, but I'm gonna tell you something. I was good with everything he had, but the part that I was most interested in was the dessert.
Oh,
right? With the 2 scoops of ice cream and the chocolate
skillet cookie
or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The skillet cookie, I think is what it was. Yeah. So that would be unbelievable. I can only imagine. And hey, let me tell you something. If you're walking around the grounds at Augusta and you haven't had you an ice cream sandwich with the cookies, between the 2 sugar cookies, you're missing out. You're missing out.
And the peach ice cream.
Yes.
The peach ice cream with the sugar
and the sugar cookies.
Woo!
Oh, buddy.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Before we lose you guys in a reverie here over that, do you have an upset in the tournament today? Anything just jump out at you, Will?
No, I mean, today is going to be the day. I always like my upsets the first day of the tournament. I think then you start to really, the dust kind of starts to settle. Nothing really comes. I hate to say it, nothing really comes to mind. I'm a lot of chalk, I think, today versus yesterday. But based on where my brackets rank in the pools, I should have been a lot of chalk yesterday, and not so much today.
I hear you. All right, for Tee Times, more information, everything going on at Capitol Hill and the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. I know our viewers and listeners can go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill, but what's that phone number direct into the pro shop?
Yeah, they can give us a call at 334-285-1114, and we'd be glad to help you with anything you have and any questions you might need.
The entire staff, helpful as can be at Capitol Hill on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. Great to visit with you, Will.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all have a great weekend. Thanks so much.
You too, buddy. Thank you so much. Will Fisher, the director of golf at Capitol Hill on the RTJ Trail. Yeah, Bear ran into our friend Mike Beverly last week. Believe it or not, walked into Chuck's for a little dinner, and Mike and his wife were there and chit-chatted with him for a little bit. Man, he was telling me about the all the plans and what they've got going on up at Capitol Hill. It's going to be very exciting. Every now and then, well, not every now and then, you got to do this. I mean, golf courses have to go through a little transformation, kind of reconfiguring, and greens have to be redone, tees, bunkers, things of that nature, because, heck, Mother Nature kind of takes its toll over the years, and they're certainly putting the money back in and investing into these great golf facilities.
Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. We've got a jillion games today, second full day of March Madness. You're thinking, and tomorrow's the same way as we get into the round of getting closer to the round of 32. Man, I can't go do anything. I've got basketball games all day long. Look, one of the great things about Stivers Ford Lincoln in Montgomery, when you are ready to make your deal, they are dealing. John, I know for a lot of people, their experience in car buying is it takes the whole day to get it done. Not here.
Not here.
You can come in. You won't miss a thing.
No.
But you'll be driving out with a terrific vehicle.
Barry, they'll have the games on here. So if you just got to take a quick peek, a quick look and see how your team's doing, you can do that, because I'm telling you, the car and truck buying process, these people are professionals. They've done it a time or two. So they know time is of the essence. They're going to get you out of here quickly. If you show up here right now, you'll be driving out before lunch today. I can promise you that.
There you
It's
go.
Stivers in Montgomery during Markdown Madness. All right, we'll be back on Monday recapping everything that happened over the weekend, looking ahead to what's going to be coming up with more in the NCAA tournament. We'll continue our tour around the SEC of win totals for the year. I think who's next after Missouri?
Mississippi.
Oklahoma?
I get it mixed up. Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
Missouri,
sometimes they do it.
I think it's Oklahoma next. I believe
Okay,
Oklahoma
we'll
will
do
be
that.
next on Monday. So we got a lot going on. So make sure you are a part of what we do.
Well, it's going to be nice on Monday for sure. Actually, I hope that I'm not going to be on the show on Monday because that means that Troy will have one Sunday night and we're traveling back and getting ready for the Sweet 16. But regardless, we're going to be talking a lot of basketball on Monday. Thanks so much to Will Fisher from Capitol Hill from joining us. Big thanks on game day for Troy head coach Scott Cross, whose Trojans take on Kentucky tonight at 6:10 on CBS. For our producer, Gurn Jr., John Longshore at Stivers Ford Lincoln on the Eastern Boulevard of the Troy Highway in Montgomery. I'm Barry McKnight in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.